Is TV over? Let's find out. Welcome back to a brand new episode of the Showseph, the only show that is called that. I think. I haven't checked, but I'm pretty sure. As always, I'm Joseph. Today we're talking about TV shows, the new shows that are coming out. This episode stemmed from two shows that I've watched a couple episodes of, and it made me have some serious thoughts about where television is going. Where the sitcoms, are they good anymore? Are people still watching sitcoms? Do people care about these sitcoms anymore? Get into all of that in this episode. So you're gonna make sure you want to watch this whole thing so you can have a understanding of where I'm coming from. So the two shows in question, I've seen a couple episodes from. One is called Adults on FX/Hulu. The other one is called Not Suitable for Work, also Hulu, FX, whatever they're called now. If they're the same thing, I don't really know. These shows, I think, were poised to be. They're both shows about young Gen Z or late millennial group of diverse, attractive friends living in the big city, pursuing their respective careers, having some relationship woes and dramas, some internal friendship struggles, and some, satirical, situational conflicts, as all sitcoms do. These shows to me are poised to be something like a New Girl or something that's the not necessarily the biggest show. New Girl was a popular show, but it wasn't the biggest show of the era. But I feel like if you're in any room where there's a group of people and you mention either a character or something that happened in New Girl, chances are at least a couple people in that room are going to know and are going to be able to talk about that with you. With these two shows, I think, have been posed to be the New Girl type of show where it's about a group of people. It's about the struggles of people of that age range or that generation. And I don't think that this is clicking for people. I don't know. I didn't look into any of the numbers. I'm fairly confident if I bring up the show Adults or Not Suitable for Work, most people haven't seen either of those shows, aren't going to be able to, or if they have, aren't able to have a long form conversation about either of those shows or their plots. And I know there's people who are going to be like, oh, I love both of those shows. I've seen every episode. Fine, that's fine. I know there are people who watch these shows. They wouldn't be making shows and people not be watching. It'd be impossible for something to be made and no one have watched it. I understand people will watch these shows. The thing is that the difference is like there's no connection. I don't see people online having discourse about television shows anymore. There's not really anything like that at the level where it's something that's bonding groups of people. Because, I mean, part of it, there's so much content and so much media out there now that there's so much diversity of people are kind of have their own niches and they're sticking to that. There's obviously the internet, TikTok. People would rather watch stuff like that than watch a sitcom, studio network television show. Or, that they don't find it relatable. They can watch something else that they do find more relatable. I understand all of that. This is more so of me being what's going on with the sitcoms. The sitcoms are a dying form of media. I was looking to see what are like the popular sitcoms now. One of them is the Animal Control, starring Joel Mchale. I think they're on like their 5th or 6th season. I don't know anyone personally who watches Animal Control. I'm sure there are people who watch it. It must be a popular, entertaining show. Please let me know if you watch Animal Control. But I personally don't know anyone who watches it or who watches it consistently enough. I tried to get into one episode, but for whatever reason, the streaming service, I don't know if it's on Hulu or Netflix. I don't know what it's on, but it started me on season 3, and they didn't have season 1 or 2, so I had to watch the first episode of season 3. And I was like, I'm sure I've missed some behind or some actions from prior seasons that really define these characters. I have no idea why how I'm starting at season 3. I'm kind of lost, so I gave up on the show. I'm sure there's people who watch it. Like I said, Joel Mchale is a great actor. Community was he's a great guy on that show. I don't know that he has a star power necessarily to carry this show that this long. I mean, he clearly, has. This show has been going on for however many years 5 seasons is. So people are clearly enjoying this. I don't know who those people are. I don't even know if this is a streaming show or if it's a network show, if it's on the TV, or if they drop all the episodes at once. I think that's another issue with a lot of the shows, is where they drop all the episodes at once. You kind of just get through all of the episodes. There's no discourse around it. There's no connection people feel to each other, where, like they say about Twin Peaks, when the Twin Peaks pilot premiered on Fox or whatever channel it was on, everybody was watching this, and everybody the next day were continuing discourse around what's going to happen to Laura Palmer, what's going to happen, what's the big mystery of this series, who murdered the girl. You don't really have stuff like that anymore, because when you drop all 8 or 12 which, by the way, 8 to 12 episodes, that doesn't feel like a long enough show for me. You like the 20 episodes, I get it, that's like a long time to span a season of television, but I feel like people that makes more that just makes the show, I don't know. Look, obviously there's not going to be a lot of great episodes. Something like The Flash will be like 20 episode seasons, and then usually after like the middle point of the season, you're like, all right, you wrap this up. We're just kind of stretching episodes at this point. But for a sitcom, it's like, if you have 20 episodes, you can have 20 different situations, make them fun or entertaining. There's going to be a few bad ones, obviously, but I always kind of preferred the sitcoms have the longer seasons as opposed to like a 6 or 8 episode season, because now it's like you don't feel anything after the season is over. You can pretty much watch the entire show in a day or a day or two, and then that's it. On to the next show. These shows don't have lasting power. So, I think something like Community, the reason why people like or have such fond memories is because there were so many episodes of it. You can watch, you can, if you had seen it before, you can go and you can look back at any of the long, length of episodes, and then there's more kind of attachment to it, because you remember, and you can select episodes. You can skip certain ones that you didn't remember fondly of. I just think that, overall, I understand that raises the budget and that raises whatever, but I think that TV shows should be longer. They should have more episodes. I think that the less episodes make them less interesting. But these shows, and then the other thing, one of these shows, I think both of them maybe, there's no like standout stars from any of these shows either, from the ones I spoke of earlier, adults or not suitable for work. There's one of them, he's in the popular internet show Almost Friday, and I think that's where a good chunk of their audience is coming from, is from the fans of that show or from that series, because they're a fan of this guy from the internet. We're going to go support him, watch him on this television show. And I think that the other show, maybe there's some other like internet popular people in that show. I'm not too familiar with it, but something like that. There's no identifiable characters. There's not really lead characters anymore. Like in Community, Jeff, as much as they were all lead characters, Jeff was like the central figure. I think that in both of those shows, there's not really, they're all kind of battling for who is there's clear people who aren't the leads, but then there's like usually a few people who the show has a hard time pulling away from these characters. And then so now you're stuck with like a handful of leads who are kind of driving their own stories, as opposed to one lead who's driving their story. I think that makes it a bit more simpler to follow. Something like How I Met Your Mother, they're all leads, but the one guy was the lead. Something like Seinfeld, they're all leads. Jerry is the clear lead. Something like Friends, they're all leads. It's clear Rachel is the lead. This is how sitcoms have been. And now it's getting too many lead characters, I think, is adding to sitcoms being too diluted. So the shorter episode seasons, too many lead characters, too many lead storylines. The characters they don't have anything like really compelling narrative that's moving the series along. Like I watched the pilot for the Not Suitable for Work show, and I couldn't really, there wasn't really a hook that's going to make me continue wanting to watch the show. It's just, with something like New Girl, it's a fun situation of this girl breaks up with her boyfriend. She moves into this house with these three boys, and then the hook is I want to see what's going to happen when this, kind of this silly girl lives with these three weird, one guy is kind of grumpy, one guy is kind of very ego. You want to see that interaction with some of these newer shows. You don't really get that hook of why am I going to continue watching this? Why am I going to continue watching this Not Suitable for Work show? Because I want to see everything work out for them. Like maybe the one guy, the lead guy, he falls in love with a girl. Maybe that's the reason the hook is because you want to see if he falls in love with her. But that's every show. Every show is about a guy falling in love with a girl. You gotta have something a bit more than that. Maybe there's some reason. I don't know. I'm just spitballing. I don't know. What do I know? I don't make TV shows. People are gonna say I'm wrong and I have the wrong opinion about these shows, and that's fine. I just would like to see some better television. That's all that I would like to see, and I would like to engage with people who feel similarly. Like I said with the New Girl thing, you bring up New Girl, you're gonna find someone who's seen the show and they can reference it with you. If I were to bring up something that happened in Not Suitable for Work, which, by the way, I've seen, the first few episodes, I don't remember anything substantial that happened. And I feel like if I were to bring up something that happened, I don't know that I would come across anyone who has seen them and would want to talk about them with me. And if you have, and you've seen the show and you want to talk about these things, then leave a comment. We can talk about the show. I'm happy to do that. I'm happy to do a rewatch or a review, like a Marvel type, review where they do at the end of the Marvel movies. They do review videos where they say this is everything, every Easter egg that happened in the Marvel movie. We can do that if you want for Not Suitable for Work. I think that'd be a fun, group activity we can all engage in. But for the most part, I don't know anyone who's watched these shows. I don't know anyone I can talk to about these shows, and these shows have no staying power. And again, it's there is a breadth of entertainment out there now that you can choose from anything that you can watch from, and a lot of these shows they don't have as compelling of a reason for you to want to watch them, or for a mass amount of people. Like I said with Twin Peaks, everybody wanted to talk about Twin Peaks. With these shows, does everybody want to talk about these shows at the water cooler or at the jukebox? I don't think so. So let me know what you think about this. I'm sure I sound delusional to some of you. I'm going to get some of the... You said a whole lot of nothing in this video. That's fine. You just couldn't hear what I'm saying. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. And if I do sound delusional, I don't care. That's fine. Let me know if I sound delusional. That's cool too. This is what we do here. I appreciate you for watching this regardless, even if you didn't enjoy this. Like, I appreciate that. I appreciate every walk of life. Let me know if you didn't enjoy this. That would mean a lot to me. And I will see you guys next week. Big peace.